Louder! What's up, everybody, and welcome to hyPODermic, the pod that sticks you deep. I am TJ Bowser, and joining me is your host, the maestro of mayhem, the dawn of disaster, Mr. Nick Benson.
How you doing?
And our esteemed guest for this evening, the legendary James Azrael.
Legendary.
World record holding.
Yes.
I mean, if I put it in the bio, it's true, right?
Absolutely.
That's right. It must be. I read it on Facebook.
I am totally changing your name in my phone to the Dawn of Disaster.
Dawn of Disaster. Okay.
It's going to be on shirts everywhere soon, guys.
Yeah.
How you doing, James?
I am doing pretty good. This is like midnight for me, so my apologies if my eyes seem droopy or anything. So
between the two of us, we're a couple of droopy old men, huh?
Right.
But we definitely appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. It's been a while.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're not going to bore you with all the normal prop talk as everybody else hounds you about. What we want to know about is why.
I mean, we can.
The way you are and why you do the things that you do. And we want to start at the very beginning. Oh my God, look at all that stuff. But we'll talk about that later. So where did this all start? Where did your love for things start?
Things, just in
For
general.
things. Yes.
Well,
What things are they?
let's put it this way. You and I have known each other a long time, but we want to get a little deeper and further back. I want to know what drove you. What drove you not only to collect, but to get yourself into music, to get yourself to play the music you played. I want to know more about who James Azrael is.
Hoy, man. Should have prepared some cliff notes for this one.
That's right.
Well, the collecting started. I was brought up Bohemian. My family tree is Bohemian, and that culture is a natural pack rat from everything I learned. So it must be genetic. So I don't know. I was probably 5 or 6 when it really started. We had gone up to Canada, and they had found an AT-ST driver from Return of the Jedi. Tri-logo on there because Canada sells everything in English and French, but also the Spanish logo. Mm-hmm. And at that age, I didn't open it. I kept it. I still have it. Downside is it was an AT-ST driver and it's not worth anything, even today. But yeah, so something told me like to not play with this, keep this in the package. And that definitely set it off. Around that time too, like I started getting into World War II, talking with my grandparents, my neighbor behind us who served, and just listening to their stories. And parents would start buying me encyclopedias about it, and some of these family friends, and this progressed through the years. They would give me little artifacts, their army hat that they had, or some pins, or some money they got from the Pacific Islands, and so I've always just collected. And with props, it started with replicas. And then one day on surfing on eBay, I found some listings for Jeepers Creepers and realized that I could freaking.
You're like, fuck it, I need the real thing.
and the crazy thing is, especially back then, it was cheaper to get the real thing than the reps.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, it's everything I've ever done has been collecting. I collect Jack Daniels. I collect movie props. I still collect certain replicas. I've been collecting Star Wars. I collect comic books, in particular Lobo. Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Well, let's sidebar into Lobo, actually, while you bring it up. You currently hold the world record for the largest amount of Lobo stuff.
We didn't know that we needed that, did we?
we were serious about the world record holding. That was no joke.
There's actually Lobo behind you for video watchers. Oh, and there's the certificate. There it is.
Look at that.
I mean, I just happen to have it right here.
It just happens to be right there.
So yeah, so do you want to know how I got into Lobo, how this began?
Well, first I want to know why Lobo.
Yeah.
Why Lobo? Okay, well, it's interconnected. So comic books, everything, there's Archie comics, and I had some Punisher stuff early on, and I must have been 12. I don't know. It was right before high school. My sister's boyfriend at the time, who was in high school, he and I rode to this little comic shop. It was a newsstand in the neighboring town, really tiny place. And on the shelf was the comic Lobo's Back. So I guess that was 91. And this is the infamous cover with Lobo's back to the viewer, and it says "Bite Me, fanboy." Mm-hmm. and everywhere on the cover it says "for mature readers." There was a triple cover, so when you opened it, there was another cover, and it said, "No, we're serious. We strongly suggest you put this back." It just keeps going like that. Right? So I saw.
You can never have enough warnings.
No, they tried, and I don't know. There's something about this cover, like this heavy metal looking badass, and the artwork, and you couldn't read them at the place and everything. But I, pulled out all the change I had, paid the $1.50 something, whatever, and took it home, and that was it. That's all I've collected ever since then. There's random comics here and there of occasional Superman or something, but it's really only been Lobo. So yeah, I was just drawn to him, and the character himself. For those that don't know who he is, like he's
the casuals out there. Yes,
yeah. I mean, he's infamous, but he's not in your face. Like he pops up everywhere, which made collecting fun and a pain in the fucking ass. Because right after Lobo's Back, he got his own series, but it was only 64 issues long. But he's been in somewhere around 1,500 plus comics.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's and before the internet, trying to find where these appearances are was very difficult.
Well, I'm sure the research was horrible.
Yeah, I'd be at the comic book shop just going through long boxes, seeing if he's on a cover.
Yeah.
And as the years go, that's when I really dug in, and you find that he'll just freaking appear in the background and random things in the Kingdom Come series.
Mm-hmm.
There's a water tower. Or the Statue of Liberty, I think it was, and it's just spray painted. Lobo was here,
but that's technically
an appearance that connoted in the Guinness.
He even has a Christmas special where he fights Santa Claus.
And that predated the Lobo's Back. That was Lobo's paramilitary Christmas special. Bunny hires Lobo to kill Santa Claus. Santa Claus is a bad dude, man. He's the original Mr. Machete. So it was a good thing that Lobo took him out. But so Lobo started in 1983, Omega Men #3. Keith Giffen created him as a parody, as a commentary, really, on kind of making fun of readers of the comics. Because at that time, Wolverine and Punisher were super huge, and he couldn't wrap his head around why these ultra violent anti-heroes were popular. So he created Lobo to kind of
The anti-hero's anti-hero.
Yeah. And it backfired horribly for him because people loved Lobo like out the gate. And so it's been like a thorn in his side in both. It's been the linchpin in his career, but also this like, guys, I was just fucking around, like stop type of thing. But yeah, so Lobo just, and he progressed. Like when he began, he wore an orange and purple jumpsuit, and he was skinny. He had purple hair and yellow eyes, and it progressively, in particular when Simon Bisley took over, he became this super beefed out dude. But he's an alien from the planet Zarnia. He killed his entire race as a science project, so he would be the only one of his kind. And so he's super intelligent. He's got super
narcissistic too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he calls himself the main man. It's all about him. He can breathe in space. He's essentially immortal. He can't die because he gets kicked out of, when he does die, gets kicked out of heaven and banned from hell. So he essentially can't die. He's as strong as Superman, and that's been a routine thing in DC. Is Lobo and Superman duke it out? And
I was gonna say I strongly associate Lobo with Superman.
Yeah.
Lobo,
like he's the act like. There's others that are the opposite of Superman, but he's really.
I'm not as familiar with Lobo as like in the comics. Is his motorcycle as much the companion as it is in some of the animated iterations of Lobo?
And it's a space hog, sir.
Okay, sorry.
It's a space hog 6'6".
I think you just named the episode. It's a space hog, sir.
There you go.
Right on. But, well, it's he built it. Like his super intelligence. He speaks like 17,000 different languages. It's crazy, but he built it, and he bought it and modified it really, and it's got functions like it's attuned to his whistle, and not just any whistle, but his whistle. It'll come to him and stuff. It's not sentient. It's not anything like that. But he can control it without being on it. So in that sense, kind of in that way. But yeah, and it's a tool. He uses it because he can't fly, but he could take Superman down with his space frac. But it's brilliant when you see him and Superman together, because he brings out the worst in Superman. In every comic, like his Boy Scout, like if you want to see Superman just be a dick, bring Lobo into the comic, and he just
better than Bizarro Superman, huh?
Yeah, he just he loses all of his sense of empathy and
nice.
Right, like because Lobo regenerates on top of it, so Superman has no qualms about just blasting Lobo. He'll kill Lobo, just to end the conversation if he has to. But yeah, it's fantastic when they get together.
So to finish off the Lobo speak, pre-show we were having a little conversation that I said we should probably finish on air here, and that is the most recent news with James Gunn being active in the DC universe now. He did tease Lobo the other day on Twitter, I think. You have opinions, you have feelings on on a possible casting.
I don't know if tease is the right word. I mean, he just posted a picture and said, nice to see you. I think people are, if you will, jumping the gun on this. Come on, guys, that was funny.
Yeah.
Don't let my puns go to waste. So, if anyone can truly bring Lobo out and do it justice, it's him.
No, absolutely.
The Lobo movie has been in the works since the 90s. and it keeps getting shelved. At first, it got shelved because Keith Giffen wouldn't let them do it. They wanted to tone down the violence. Well, it's not Lobo if you're gonna not make ultra violent.
You can't tone that down.
Roger Corman tried to make a TV series back when Smallville was
wow.
Yeah, that I didn't know.
Yeah. And there was another TV series that eventually became the WB's first web series. And that's kind of funny. I'm getting off topic, but I'm going to come right back to James Gunn, and that's how DC uses Lobo a lot in that sense. Like they premiere and pilot things. Like if they want to sell a comic, they put Lobo on the cover, you know, and it's crazy. So anyway, so James Gunn teasing this. Jason Momoa had been attached to it back when Michael Bay was.
I think he posted something almost in tandem with Gunn, which made people think that he was.
It came afterward because it was an interviewer James Gunn's post, and he brought it up to Momoa. Momoa was like, "No, I didn't see it, but fuck yeah, I'd do it." I think Momoa is perfect. Since the first time he was attached to it, I think he was perfect. He's already got the size, the attitude, the look. I mean, you just got to paint him, you know. So, Andrew Brzezinski,
good choice.
And I think, like the audience right now, it's prime material for anti-hero stuff. I mean, look at Venom, Suicide Squad, and Joker. The audience is there for that. So if you're
definitely they're primed for that, because I think the hero movies are kind of dwindling. Yeah, and the anti-hero stuff is gaining ground.
Well, when you're pumping out 4 a year, you're going to get sensitized to it.
Well, and he's not necessarily an anti. I mean, he is an anti-hero, but he's not necessarily a villain like Joker.
He kind of just mercenary type thing.
Not even a mercenary. He doesn't do mercenary work. He's a bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter. Okay.
But yeah, he has his code. You know. His word is his code, and he loves his fishies, the space dolphins. Don't fuck with his space dolphins. A lot of shit has happened because of that in the books. But I mean, he's been a member of Justice League numerous times. In the last iteration, maybe it's not the last anymore. The last time I read it, because Lobo left, so I didn't read it anymore. It was the Rebirth era, and he from like issue 1 he was on the Justice League. That man made a deal with him, and so he fought alongside the Justice League through it all, and it was actually a really, really well done series. But a lot of this comes down to whether the writers of the movie and whatever understand Lobo and can actually pull it off. So
this could be DC's Deadpool.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, Deadpool wouldn't have happened without Lobo.
For sure.
No, he's not a direct parody. I guess he's more of a parody of the Orange
Deathstroke.
But yeah, I mean the attitude and everything, and Rob Liefeld had created Blood Wolf, which was a direct parody of Lobo. Before Deadpool. So yeah, and any parodied character in the Deadpool comics called Dirty Wolf. But
so other than collecting, you're into music.
More so was. Yeah. I've done other things for the last 15 years, but yeah.
Let's back up a bit and talk about what directed you toward the music you were making.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow. I don't even know how to get into that.
Well, come on. What inspired you? That's really what the core of it is.
Yeah.
There's things that inspire you throughout your life, and those are the things that direct you to be what you are.
I picked up the guitar in the first place because of Bill and Ted.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, if these guys can do it,
If these clowns can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, I wanted to be a wild stallion. But as far as music influence, like Born in the USA, this is, I love saying this because it's a rather embarrassing aspect of musicality, because Born in the USA made me want to, like, the guitar in itself. Like, I love Bruce Springsteen. So Born in the USA is the song that made me want to rock, but everything in Born in the USA is saxophone. It's like no guitar. So, musically, as I wrote for Court Jester, my band, Black Sabbath, Guns N' Roses, and some Maiden, lyrically, I think were my influences.
Just what I wanted to hear, the darker influences.
As he wears an Iron Maiden shirt.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh my God. A couple of our songs had some of that multi-guitar things that you can't pull off on stage with two guitarists, harmony, melody, things going on. And just the lyrics in Iron Maiden, like I always loved just telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
I never got into, that's something I hated about grunge and that whole movement. It's like you watch a movie because you escape into it,
Mm-hmm.
That aspect. I never truly appreciated movies that I don't know, Hallmark type movies,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just, why do I want to feel that way? I'm trying to
a little too fantasy for you.
Yeah, like, and that's something I loved about glam metal and everything. Everything was just fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's very little of, oh, woe is me, or like my
Do you
shitty
like Kiss?
Oh yeah,
No.
fuck yeah. Kiss. Like, what? I'm not going to say that straight.
Wow, I think you embarrassed him without actually saying something.
Some memory came up there.
Right.
It did. There's just no good way of dropping it into.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Oh, well, fuck it.
Yes.
Okay. So back in the day, entertainment lawyer Owen Sloan had sat down with me and talked with me about stuff. He's like, and now mind you, like, Court Jester did shit, but we were never big, But he sits there in his office and he tells me, James, I don't know how you guys do it, but you somehow walk into these clubs and bars and convince everybody you're fucking Kiss. So that's what made me remember. Okay.
Fucking it.
Yeah. The show starts the minute you walk out the door, man.
So did that band kind of play like glam metal sort of music?
Court Jester?
Yes.
My band? I won't say no. We dressed it. When we started, we definitely wore shiny shirts and stuff.
Yeah, the visual aspect of it. So musically, what would you consider yourself?
Hard rock metal.
Hard rock metal? Excellent.
Yeah. And it varied, like, I mean, we played with everybody from Sir Mix-a-Lot to Morbid Angel.
Okay.
Wow.
That is quite the.
That is
Yeah. We were known for getting along with everybody and being able to pull out the shows. Like, I don't know, like our first album, as most bands do, when you record your first album, you've got such a monster of music, because you've spent 10 years writing the tracks that are on that album and that influences. But then onto the second album, we progressed in those 10 years, so and changed and modified. So the second album, while still hard rock metal, it was a lot less of the Maiden aspects, the like 8-minute songs and melodic
orchestrations.
and we changed vocals too. So we had changed out of the melodic vocalist and into more of a straight rock singer. So it was and radio friendly. Like our second album was definitely engineered towards commercialization, and it worked because we commercialized a couple of songs.
Cool. Could listeners find this stuff on YouTube at all?
Yes. I know our second album's on YouTube.
Okay.
I know it's on, is it CD Baby?
CD Baby, yeah.
And I'm sure it's on iTunes. I know that those fuckers, who's the big streaming?
Spotify.
Those motherfuckers stole our shit.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. So I know it's out there on other forums that we've never given permission for. The only ones that legally have it are Amazon, iTunes, and CD Baby.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's important to get some of that stuff because it's all puzzle pieces to figure out like what makes the person that they are today, and
absolutely,
especially the music aspect of things.
Well, and you're right. I mean, it all connects because I wouldn't be here without the music. I wouldn't have started the HSPPA if it wasn't for the band,
right?
Which allotted me to do it, and my years of just gigging and being on the road is what made HSPPA a traveling system, because I dug it. I knew touring.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool that to hear that all of those things kind of interlace and make you who you are.
Oh yeah.
But let's get in a little bit to your transitioning from the band and into collecting and starting HSPPA.
So how did HSPPA come about?
Well, I imagine a lot of it came from the starting to collect things and different collections and like that led to it. But you started collecting real screen used props, and as some people may or may not know, our audience may or may not know, James and I were partnered in a museum here, and a lot of James's collection was in our museum. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of it because it was probably 5 times the size of what we had in the museum. But, we want to know why, how and why, and what drove you to do that? What drove you to decide I have to preserve these things?
And what does that acronym mean?
That's right. HSPPA, Horror and Sci-Fi Prop Preservation Association.
Okay.
So another tidbit about me is I love museums. If I could live anywhere, like I want to live in the Field Museum in Chicago, like just that can be my house, like here's a dinosaur, here's Egypt,
Absolutely.
I just love that idea of curation, and I guess from what I've said already, you can look back at how I collected and held on to these artifacts from World War II and the comic books, and you can see the crap behind me here. Sorry, the amazing Guinness World Record holding Lobo collection behind me. I'm gonna just drop that in every so often. So yeah, I mean, curation, everything. I just love doing that. And so when I started getting into props, as Nick will attest, the materials used to make most of these things is naturally degradable. You know, it's just latex silicone. It's gonna die, and the use that's being pushed upon it on set and everything. Something a lot of people may not realize is something you see on screen that's made to make it through the scene that it's in. It's not made to last a year, 10 years, 30 years down the line.
And we're back. So acronyms, props, and preservation.
So the HSPPA, the Horror and Sci-Fi Prop Preservation Association.
Yes.
So we, I formed this because, well, okay. So back up to the latex and everything. So I got stuff in particular. It was the creeper cowl, the Hero creeper cowl from Jeepers Creepers, first one. It was rotting and flaky on the edge, and it had already started to adhere itself to the life cast, Jonathan Breck's life cast that had been sitting on.
Oh yeah, because it kind of gels as it falls apart, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then it just becomes one with whatever it's touching.
Right.
And it was very sad to see this, you know, and I love the movie. We obviously didn't know about the creators' choices back then, but I still like the movie
Yes.
now, but I try to avoid a lot of those conversations because of it.
One must separate the art from the artist.
Yeah. And yeah, different topic.
Keep going.
So, you know, and at the time, I was probably the most I had paid for an item. So it was even more disheartening seeing something that you spent money on disintegrating in front of your eyes. So I started to figure out, you know, what can you do? And I discovered Tom Spina and Tom Spina Designs. I'd contacted him and we talked. I think another year or 2 years or something went by, and I sent it off to him finally, and he patched. He didn't patch it. He sealed it, adhered the rest of it to the bust, and I think he might have touched. There was some wet rot on the back where it was becoming tacky.
Don't touch my wet rot. That sounds very wrong. I had to throw that in there. Sorry.
Never apologize for your wet rot, sir.
Don't touch my wet rot.
So he did the work. He sent it back to me, and I was just blown away at what he did. And I'm like, you know, this stuff needs to be cared for. So then another couple of years, maybe another year or 2 years after that went by, and when I would order a pizza, anything, I opened my front door, and
make sure there's no wet rot.
Would see I live in Chicago. There's a lot of wet rot.
Not on your pizza, I hope.
Well, you don't know what I ordered. You open my door and you'd see at the time I had just an entire wall of Michael Myers masks. So when you open the door, that's all you saw. I mean, they were all replica, but
yeah.
So the pizza guy can drop the pizza and run.
There was some more. I had a cop do that, but Jason masks, and there's a Freddy's. So you'd see stuff and they'd like, oh wow, what's this? And come in and like take some pictures and this was continual. And then this one day, this company that will always remain nameless until they sponsor me, came to install a much better internet cable system. And they were at my house for like 7 hours. And he kept calling techs because I kept giving him tours of my house and everything that I had. So they just kept bringing in techs to the area to see the cool shit. Like,
so you were giving tours basically to somebody you were paying to put in internet.
Well, I mean, luckily not by the hour. Just one installation fee, 5 techs.
There you go.
and it just kind of clicked with me that like, people need to see this stuff. It's got to come out from behind closed doors. And I still have my trailer from Court Jester, and I contacted Flashback Weekend a couple months later after I'd started putting the whole HSPB idea together, and like, here's this thing, and they're like, you want what? I'm like, this. They were the only ones that I had talked to, that Mike and Mia, that actually like got any semblance of what it was and just gave me the space,
right?
To booth space, which to a show, for those that don't realize, that's a lot
of money.
It's valuable.
Yeah, it's valuable real estate.
Yeah. So I set up, and it was a very meager display if you go back and look at the pics that I had from back then, but people just loved it. They were just crowded in there. And I had Stefan and his daughter Abby, who had been helping me with shows forever. We dressed them up in the armors, the gorilla and the chimp armors from Planet of the Apes, Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, and they just walked around the con and in the original screen used armors.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And after that, I had some photos, and I could show other people like, this is what I've been trying to tell you. And yeah, it just exploded from there. We did like 3 shows that year. The next year we did like 17, and next year we did like 30. And then, COVID eventually happened, and we're back to
people do love seeing that stuff. They really do. Yeah. And I'll attest to personally experiencing that with James, not only at Mad Monster when I signed in his booth, but just again in Chicago this past Flashback Weekend. Yeah. It's really kind of a cool thing to see when you realize just how much seeing these pieces or touching these pieces really affects people to their core. So
absolutely. Yeah.
It's really, really nice to see.
Yeah. It's and Nick, you and I have had this conversation a lot, because we see this so often, but movies have such an emotional attachment to people,
Yes.
Everything we've talked about with me, the one thing we didn't talk about is that everything I've done can be turned back and pointed at me seeing Star Wars.
Okay.
Every major choice in life I've made has been because I saw Star Wars,
Sure.
The quick example is I wanted to be a director and go to and so I could study at the Lucas Building at University of Southern California, and then in high school I discovered that, well, your senior project is $100,000 alone. And so I quickly changed gears to radio, and radio brought me to the people that we formed Court Jester, which brought me to this, which brought, so every step
came full circle.
So I originally got into radio because I interviewed Darth Vader, David Prowse,
nice,
for high school,
That's the body of Vader.
Yes.
Yes.
Back in high school, over the phone, and I realized that if you're in radio, you can meet Star Wars actors.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Yeah.
I'm going into radio broadcasting, and I did. Like, I would interview every Star Wars person that came through town, and
That's awesome.
yeah.
So did you, Nick, you said that he did some teaching.
Oh yeah, there's that aspect too.
Yeah, let's talk about the teaching.
James did a little teaching.
To burst the bubbles of everybody out there, music doesn't pay very well.
I think a lot of artists that at least a lot of the people we talk to and will be listening to this, I'm sure know that.
Get it?
Especially today, music doesn't pay.
Yeah. So
Spotify.
I because of the band, I hadn't been willing to take certain radio jobs, and I'm sitting here in the number 3 market in the nation. You don't just get on the air in the number 3 market in the nation, as at least in a station that's going to do you anything. I worked in plenty here,
right.
But so I wasn't willing to move and everything because the band was just starting, and that's what I wanted. So I had my BA in radio broadcasting, Columbia College, and a couple of years went by, and I went back and I got my master's degree in education, and I started working in the schools because, I mean, A, it's good pay, but B, I mean, you get so much time off. So we were able to tour, to gig and everything, just months at a time, especially in the summer, was available. And I had health insurance, that was like a huge thing. So yeah, I never did a whole lot with the teaching degree because I kind of shot myself in the foot with it. Unions, having a master's in education and being a first year beginning teacher, because of the unions, they have to pay you more because you have a master's degree, even though I have the same experience as somebody fresh out of college. So who got the jobs over me.
Right.
But I did work at a bad kid school for a bit, teaching there. This was
and then when they go home, they're pointing at the court jester videos, going, "That's my teacher."
Yeah, I mean, some did, yes.
There you go.
Speaking of Court Jester, it is available on iTunes. Nice. The album Strangeland. So if you guys have iTunes, you can go pick that up right meow.
Right on. Thanks for the plug. Yeah, I mean, in my classroom there, behind me on the wall, I had I had two of or one of the clue cards from Saw. It's a 4.
Nice.
It's I can't think of it right now, but it's the one where
the one with the traps.
Well, it says and teacher or something. So that was hanging on the wall in there.
Yeah, that's the 4th one, right?
Yeah. It's from the bedroom that hits him in the eyes with the the pokey things. So I was in a Simpsons comic book that I had that hanging on the wall, and certain things. So I was in a Kiss comic book too.
Oh, very good.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is the Sergeant Rock book from Predator out there?
Oh, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? The Sergeant Rock book. I've never seen it.
You never seen it. Boy, that'd be a cool piece, wouldn't it?
It'd be unique, you know. I like things like that. The books and comics from movies. That being a real one, though, I'd be a little apprehensive as to the authenticity of whoever's selling it.
Yes. You'd have to show a lot of proof there.
Yeah. It's always it's a delicate situation in the prop world.
Absolutely. So I know TJ's probably afraid to ask, but I know it's a burning question for him as we wrap up our discussion with you, James.
I recommend cooling pad.
That's really about what draws us to you, and that is your birds.
So, what kind of birds do you have? I know Nick has seen a cockatoo in his life, but what do you got?
Maybe three or four. So,
the pink chicken.
That's Pink Chicken and Derpy D.
Derpy D.
That's awesome.
Derpy D's a lovebird. She's in love with Pink Chicken.
Okay.
And then there's Sarge and Cappy, who are two Kaiques.
Okay.
They do all, if you can see all the cuts and everything. They play rough. They're awesome.
They do the James damage.
They just play really rough. And then there's Jax, the little blue parakeet. He had a cage mate, Miss Wallace, who recently passed. And so that's 5. So, and Nick doesn't know about this. See how quick I can put this up. See if I was prepared for your. Okay, so all of my birds except for Cappy, who Captain Orange Pants, the one Kaique. But she's got orange pants. I mean,
he does have orange pants. I got to give him that.
They're all rescues. I've brought them in, and not necessarily bad rescues. Like they've come from good homes and stuff, but just people that couldn't take care of them anymore. Like Pink Chicken, she turned 40 this year. Her owners had gotten to the age of retirement. The kids had well moved off, and they just couldn't take care of her anymore. So I brought her in. So I am getting a new flock member.
Oh, wow.
10th. This is Picasso. He's a red-fronted Amazon, or red-fronted macaw.
Wow.
He's 19, and he apparently talks. So I am really excited that he will teach Pink Chicken how to speak. She refuses to talk.
Her real name is Reebok, by the way, just for our listeners. We call her Pink Chicken because she looks like a pink chicken.
She acts
she acts like a pink chicken.
Yeah. So we mentioned finding every puzzle piece, and there's just one last one that I need to know, and that will just complete the whole picture of who James Azrael is, and that is bird cosplay. You dress your birds up.
You're like, why?
Oh, he's busted.
I put on a Big Bird outfit and sit in the room with
We almost revealed his hidden fetish there, folks.
I was going to reveal that I do have a Porg onesie, which is a bird from Star Wars.
So you definitely dressed your birds up for Halloween.
I do. I dress Pink Chicken, Reebok up.
Yes.
And the pictures are usually come out amazing, but it'll. I have to be quick. Like she tolerates it for like 3 seconds, usually enough to maybe get a picture. She didn't want to do it last year or this year, no matter what I tried.
Have you thought of like doing like couples cosplays with your birds, like George of the Jungle or like a pirate or something like that?
Or you could wear orange pants too.
Yeah, or Dr. Dolittle. Yeah, you know?
I have a picture.
Of orange pants?
Yes! No, of him reenacting the scene from Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Oh, yeah.
Got to be my jungle friends.
No, how fast I can find this.
He's looking for the.
I have a picture.
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
Speaking of Facebook, let's plug your socials, pal.
A couple of them. Well, HSPPA can be found everywhere. HSPPA, and my personal James Azrael, which is mostly. Oh, here it is.
Yes.
I thought it had the costume on. Sorry, guys, I can't show it to you now.
Oh.
I'll show you the 2 pictures of what I thought it was going to be. So this is one of Reebok's. Where's the freaking camera?
Yes.
And I thought in my head she was wearing it in this picture.
Would have been great.
Yeah. Now I got a goal.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And right now I and it'd probably stay up for a while, but I've got the Fragpendium, which is the book I'm writing about Lobo. Which is a compendium. Frag is his favorite word. Fragpendium.
Excellent.
Yeah. 400 plus.
And now what will that book
what
do?
led up to the Guinness. I mean, it'll break a coffee table, maybe hold a really heavy door open.
There you go.
Is it going to essentially like
take somebody out with it?
Is it going to tell you the story of Lobo and kind of give people like an overview of all things Lobo?
Yeah. So basically, if you have a little bit or no knowledge of Lobo whatsoever, or even a lot of knowledge about him, you grab this, and this it's a compendium. It's part Cliff Note summary of the key events throughout. It breaks down main plot points, and I do some editorialization on stuff and explain things. There's an entire chapter on Superman, the entire chapter on Marvel crossover. As part of the Kickstarter, I had to add in a chapter on parodies that gets into all the that stuff, talking about his daughter and Demon, and so everything from his beginnings. I go before his beginnings even to explain like how the Omega Men became, and how Marv Wolfman and Keith Giffen and all of them got together, and this eventually Lobo was there. And then I get into all the TV stuff, and then throughout it all is I've got this pile sitting here. This is everything that's been added since
Oh boy,
my record, and it doesn't seem like much on the surface there, but like this envelope has 30 some color guides from Action Comics annual and Lobo and Superman. So, but I'm showing that kind of stuff in the book. So original art.
Oh, okay.
The covers, color guides, rare pieces are in there, and then the thing that I started 30 years ago with collecting Lobo is the database and tracking everything. So that's half of this book, and it's a complete catalog of every single appearance from 1983, and it'll go through January 2023.
So is this a hardcover book, James, or is this a soft cover?
The Kickstarter is hardcover.
Oh, wow.
And there's also a limited edition one with a dust cover.
Even better.
Yeah.
Is the Kickstarter live or is it finished?
It's live right now. It goes through the 28th. Yeah.
So let's just throw this out there. What would bring it full circle for you would be if James Gunn were to get a hold of your book and have Lobo kill someone with it.
Yes.
With your 400-page book in the movie.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Lobo pick it up. Damn, I'm handsome.
That would be perfect.
The Last Zarnian, his first miniseries, 1990, is kind of it starts off, he's reading the unauthorized biography of Lobo. And that sends him on this tirade. So no, maybe I don't want that. But yeah.
So other than the Lobo book, what other projects are you working on right now that you want to get out there to the listeners?
I've got a movie, Foxglove Candy, that I'm producing with Danielle Emery Taylor and my producing partner. We did It's Just a Game together. He wrote and directed that. We're looking at filming early 2023. We're waiting on a surgery before we can set some dates on that. But yeah, that's going to be a fun one. That it's kind of a back to the sexploitation of the 70s, kind of the Corman sexploitation type movies. Girls, this is kind of digging with the OnlyFans and hustling type of thing. Maybe not OnlyFans, that's more legit, more like the Craigslist, I guess. So girls hustling and it starts off with a little theft, and guy gets unruly, dies. Now, it escalates, and it escalates until they find themselves with a guy who has robes and a book and other kind of ritualistic stuff.
Now, does that mean we're also going to get a cameo from you like we did in
yeah. I'm a pawn shop owner in this.
Oh, very good. But is it a pawn shop owner with a shotgun this time?
Oh, my shotgun's going to be in there. Yeah.
Good. There you go.
Yeah. I'll probably have Skullgirl's knives in there too.
Nice.
I like to sneak these things in there. The book that we're using, so TJ, a lot of, and for other people with IJAG and stuff, HSPPA comes in and provides some props for things that we need here and there. So some of the things that you'll see are from other movies. And so I don't hold me to this right now, but currently the book that's going to be in the movie is actually from the TV show Sabrina.
Okay.
One of her spell books, or not hers, but Satan books.
Yeah.
I try not to give spoilers, but I guess I kind of did anyway. So
you're just referencing Kiss from earlier. That's all.
Did you see my friends?
Oh yes, let's make him full screen for the video. There we go.
My friends.
Jar Jar back there, folks.
Yeah. Now these are both Alice, Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. Okay.
Mila Jovovich, and I sit here and I look at this, and I'm like, I would watch the shit out of that movie. Resident Evil with Jar Jar. Right? Like,
Yeah.
I have the Axeman's axe. So just picture the
Misa's so happy to see you, Alice.
Kill you.
holding the 10-foot axe, you know? And yeah. Oh yeah.
Misa's so gonna kill you.
Misa got the virus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, even a giant Lobo action figure there.
Oh yeah.
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 So yeah, that's one of the earliest things. That actually was from the WB store.
Okay.
WB store exclusive. It's just PVC. One of those action figures. But everything here is it's not displayed because it's all set up for the Guinness shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what all those little tags are. Everything is numbered.
Yeah.
Because I had to index it all.
Yeah.
For them, so everything had to match up. Then I had to have photos that match up with those index numbers, and then I had to have 2 judges come in, and on video, I had to show them every item, and they had to verify that that's what it was. So, and those without him like on the cover, I had to open them up and went to it was like 8 hours, 10 hours of video, and it's just flip a book. They're like, yep. It's all on video.
Insane
In
process.
case you want to watch it. But yeah, so it's all.
Look at that.
Yeah, some of it's out, the little miniatures, HeroClix, all the games.
A whole lot of Lobo.
Action figures.
That's a lot of Lobo.
I thought that was a Led Zeppelin song. Oh no, that's not. Want a whole lot of Lobo?
Yeah, that's I'm a hoarder,
Thank you for
man.
sharing that collection with us. That was pretty rad. But I think that is all we have for today's episode. James, you're legendary. You're a world record holder. You have birds.
Hey, did I
You
mention?
dress your birds up, and it has
Yeah, birds, and you dress them up.
And you've been a fantastic guest. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
joining
having
us, James.
Yeah, it was a pleasure and an honor, guys.
I couldn't find a better fitting guest for our first episode of Hypodermic. Yeah, sticking him deep.
Awesome, man. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, James.
So we will be back next week with another episode of Hypodermic, the pod that sticks you deep. I am TJ Bowser.
Master, the ears. Where we go? Could be more disgusting. How about some bubbling boils and green glove? Now I'm losing my lunch.
Monster Face, the gruesome monster head you make and remake into the most monstrous monsters imaginable. Then you bring it to life.
Now for the test. It works!
Monster Face comes with everything shown here.